Hey, speaking of
Um,
West Coast IPAs, one of the most famous ones, at least for us, and maybe not for you guys so much if you get it a lot, but Pliny the Elder. How do you guys feel about Pliny? It is like kind of the ultimate West Coast IPA, at least in a lot of people's minds. How do you guys feel about it?
mm, I have never had one.
Really?
I actually it's true, but it's also a lie. So I have a Pliny the Elder in the fridge that I haven't opened yet.
Okay.
But I have had what was the Pliny for President? I had that
Yeah.
last year, and I enjoyed it. Yeah, I thought it was a good beer, but I know that Pliny the Elder, Pliny the Younger is kind of the end all be all, quote unquote, of those West
Yeah.
Coast IPAs, and I haven't had either one of those yet.
And I know they just
Um,
in March they just had the Pliny the Younger release. So yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead, Joe.
no. So I had never had one, and then my daughter and son-in-law got stationed in Fairfield, California. He's in the Air Force, and he was at the Air Force Base. So wife and I went up and stayed with them and the granddaughters, and we went up to Santa Rosa, and I went to the Russian River pub because that was like I wanted to try a Pliny the Elder. That's like I keep hearing about this thing, people keep raving about it, so I went up there. I had one, and probably not going to be a popular opinion to what I'm about to say. Um, it was a good West Coast IPA. I don't see what all the hype was about because 2 days later, and I had a Stone IPA, way better West Coast representation of what it should be. I'm not in any way bashing Russian River. I would never do that. I had their Blind Pig. That was amazing. I got like a flight of beer, 17 different ones they bought to me and loved every one of them. Um, I don't understand the hype of Pliny the Elder. It's a great West Coast IPA,
Mm-hmm.
but there's better ones out there, and that might not be a popular opinion among beer people, but that's just me. I don't understand the hype.
Well, and you are a West Coast IPA guy, so you've had several of them, so you get that. You understand, and you know what maybe what it should be. I can
Yeah,
almost equate it to you guys bourbon guys at all.
yeah,
Yeah.
So Blanton's, right? Blanton's.
yeah,
It's
yep.
the one everybody chases, right? I had Steve chasing him in Kentucky one time, like just looking for Blanton's. As kind of as I was getting into bourbon, and Blanton's is that same thing. It's the marketing. Again, it's a great bourbon. It's fantastic, but you chase it, right? You chase it, and you
Yep.
get it like okay, that's good. All right, had it.
Yep.
But there are so many things out there that could be better and at a better price point too. At the same time, maybe not necessarily in Pliny's regard, but it's that same thing. It's like we're seeking this holy grail kind of thing, or the one that they tell us is the holy grail.
Yep.
Yeah. And now that we mention that, I really wonder where all that starts. How all these big names come about and they're so known. Like you got the the Pliny Russian River group that uh have like a strong hold over the West Coast IPA, and then you go to the East Coast, and obviously you have like the Treehouse cult that's up there with
Yeah,
hazy IPAs and
for
all that
sure.
stuff. And don't get me wrong, like all that stuff's good, but is it better than things you can get elsewhere? I don't know. Whatever
I
it is,
think
the branding and everything they've just hit, and
availability is the other thing. If you can't get it everywhere, that's the one everybody wants. Again,
yep,
Blanton's, right? It's allocated when it comes out, and everybody rushes to get it because everybody must have it.
yeah,
I think Russian River distributes to 7 states, maybe Colorado being one, and there's a few maybe in the Northeast, so they can get it. But if you can get it every day, you're like, I can go get plenty
not
anytime I want.
yeah, not as big of a deal, and
No,
I
it's
think
sexy.
that's a big point with Stone. Like I think Stone makes great beer, some of the best beer in the country, and I completely understand, why Joe loves everything that they put out because it's great stuff. But at the same time, you know, have they kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit, being available on such a wide scale? Because I do think that that's kind of part of it is that it becomes so readily available everywhere that
Yeah.
it kind of turns that crowd away.
Yeah, the masses lose a little bit of interest. Three Floyds was that way in this area, probably most recently.
Yeah,
Like I'd go to Kentucky and could get zombie dust, and everybody's chasing zombie dust, right? And you'd go to a
Yeah.
tap room or something, and they give you like a 10 or a 12 ounce pour of it, like something small. And then they finally got it here in Tennessee, and like I love it, and I get it places, but I can get it anytime I want to now, so it's not
Yeah,
as safe.
the hunt is over. You won.
Yeah, I won.
and,
Yeah,
and I,
so
I think
on to the next one.
I think the biggest example of that, at least for me, is the hype around Treehouse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've had, you know, people send me Treehouse beers, and they've been good. Is it like the end all be all? No, it's good beer. But I think that Treehouse, like Russian River, they've built this kind of you can't get it anywhere but here thing with it.
Yeah.
And it becomes this white whale of if you want it, you got to come to us because we're not going to send it to you.
Right.
And I think that's what helps kind of feed the mystique about it. But like Nick, I love seeing lines for breweries. I think that's a great thing to come back. And like you guys said, you know, Pliny the Younger, they just had the thing sold out down the street. And you talked about Three Floyds. I don't know if they still do it or not, but they had like Dark Lord days, like 3 days of where they would do Dark Lord. And I used to see pictures of that, people lined up for like a mile to get like 4 bottles of that thing.
Yeah.
That's good for the industry, but the hype comes from if you want it, you got to come to us and get it.
This is your
Whereas
chance.
with Stone, they send it out into the world and go, here's our beer. So there's a flip side to, yeah, you got to come to us, but hey, you like our beer? It's available in all 50 states. You can get it whenever you want. So,
hey Joe, can I just say this about Stone? You were talking on one of your podcast episodes about Stone so much. I got so excited I wanted to run through a wall to go get it. I mean, I was like, this guy is hyping up and I went on Untappd and I looked and I checked in a Stone IPA at about, it was like 2021. So and it's so funny. I've seen their beer. I think Scott, they sell Stone here in Nashville, don't they?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think you can
I was gonna say it's like one of them things. So it's like so much beer, you know, so many styles. And now because of you, Joe, and of course you too, Nick, I'm gonna have to go out and get me.
Nick,
yeah, he's like, yeah. I'm gonna have to. I gotta go now because I listened to your podcast about nothing. I have to go out and I have to get me a Stone IPA.
Yeah. Well, if you can't get them, let us know because me and Joe both have access to it. So
there you go.
we got you either way.
It does go back to those things. If I could, you know, you're looking on a shelf, right? And it's like, oh, I've seen Arrogant Bastard or stuff, whatever, 1,000 times. I'm just looking past it for something else, kind of thing. But it's always there. Like if it's there, you just kind of sometimes you just look past it. I'm guilty of it because when I go to a liquor store, some of my favorite beers might be on the shelf, but I'm looking for something new. That's just the way I drink beer. That's the way I love to drink beer.
Yep.
And I should have more staples in my life. It's, you know, go-tos and stuff. But every time I go to the liquor store, I want something new. That's my goal.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way as you are, Scott, because, you know, we get so much craft beer at this point that you always want something different. You know, there's a couple beers that I can drink all the time and I'll get a 4-pack of it every now and then. But if I'm going to go out and spend $20 on a 4-pack of beer, you know, I don't want to get the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and also, like, how do you broaden your horizons if you don't try new things?
For sure.
So anytime I'm the same way as you, you know, anytime that I see something posted or, you know, I'll make a weekly trip to the store and just walk up and down the aisles a few times just to see if something catches my eye that's different. And for that reason, because it's always fun to try those new things, especially once your palate is evolved enough to appreciate them more.
That's a great point. You could get a 4-pack of singles, like that's how I get, and you could have 4 different styles in that thing. And like, hey, maybe, yeah, I like Berliner. I know what a Berliner is, but you get throw one in there, like shit, you know, you have maybe a newfound appreciation or something. Just trying something new all the time.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's also nothing wrong. We talked about it earlier with coming across a beer that you don't like, and that's part of the learning process too. Like you were saying, Scott, is, you know, it's not that, and I think Joe was saying it too. It's not that you don't like beer, you just don't like that kind, and you're not going to know that until you try it. But at the same time, going back to the Untappd conversation, one of my biggest pet peeves are those people that just bash a beer on Untappd because they don't like it.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
it drives me absolutely nuts because for example, I don't like Hefeweizens. That clove, banana, ester, I can't, it's too much for me. But if I try one and I don't like it, the first thing that I do isn't going to be to open Untappd, give it like a 0.5 rating and be like, this beer fucking sucks. It's just not it's not my style. I appreciate the style and it has its place among beer lovers. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
But just because it's not for me doesn't mean I'm going to go out and bash it to the world either.
Nick, I was just listening to your episode 9 this morning with you guys. And when you were talking about that on the Untappd app, it was funny because I think one of the exact quotes you said was, you go into a brewery and you see these people that are on their phones, and it kind of gets on your nerves because you're like, that they're looking and they're trying to figure out, do they want this beer based on the universal ratings? See, I'm just the opposite. Yep. I go in, I don't look at necessarily the universal ratings because I don't care what the universal ratings are. I go in and I'm looking on my Untappd app to see if I've had this beer before. And if I haven't, there's a good chance I'm going to get it. Now, I may look to see, like, if you've rated it, or if Joe or, Scott, if you guys have rated it in, to see what maybe you're looking at it, but I want to get it. And if I don't like it, even before we started this podcast and we were talking to brewery owners, very rarely would I ever rate a beer under 3.25. Mm-hmm. And if I've got to the point now that if I don't like a beer, if I'm rating it like a 3.50, that's as low as I'm probably going to go, because it may not be my style of beer, but I don't want to crap on the beer industry as a whole, just right. Because I don't like, I like IPAs. I don't like grapefruit. If it's like a total grapefruit IPA, I've never liked grapefruit in my life. So if I try one and I don't like it, well, it's kind of stupid to get on there and go, oh, this thing is a 1 because I don't like grapefruit IPA. Well, that's kind of ignorant. So right. I wrote down a note for this episode, and I said, maybe we need to come up with an app called the Common Sense Beer Rating app. What do you guys think?
How would you vet those people that get on that app? Or just
common sense. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that I talked about it last week with Nick and Dave, that my problem with Untappd is, like, I'll use an example. I am not a fan of sours. I don't like them. I will never like them. I'm like the green eggs and ham. I don't care if you put them on a train, eat them in the rain, on a boat. I don't care. But I had a mango sour one that I got in a beer trade, and it was put like mango sour margarita. It was everything that it was supposed to be. It tasted like a mango sour margarita. I think I put it on Untappd as a 5 because it was everything that it was supposed to be. The last thing I was going to do was going to go on there and give it a 1 because I don't freaking like. No, it's exactly right. What the brewery intended it to be. And they nailed it. I literally at one point forgot I was drinking a beer and thought I was drinking a margarita because it was. But I don't like sours. I'm not big into porters and stouts, but I drink them, and if it's good, I'll give it a 5 because it's exactly what the brewery intended. That's my problem with Untappd. We've allowed people to go on this app and bash a brewery all because they don't like the beer. But the beer is everything that beer is supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I know me personally, I have all but abandoned Untappd. I haven't posted. I just don't do it anymore. All my stuff's on Instagram because I just got tired of seeing people going on and doing like 1s and 2s, and then you read it, and then you go out and I find the beer here and I drink it. I'm like, this is everything the label says it's supposed to be. Why are you giving it a 2.5? Because you don't like it.
Yeah, you have those dopes out there, and you just can't do anything about them, And and it's funny, when we started this podcast, I never thought about it from that viewpoint. I never thought about it from the, and I don't never bash anybody. I'll shit on some Bud Light or something, but they don't care. but I would never bash anybody like that. But I never understood that point, or never realized that point until we started talking to brewers and we started bringing up Untappd, and we're like, oh shit, there's a whole nother side of this. Sierra Nevada might not care, New Belgium might not care. The guy down the street cares.
Yeah.
Right. Your local guy cares.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's getting people, whether that, people come or go to the brewery or not.
Well, that's the thing. People go on this app and they look, and like Nick said, you walk into a brewery and everybody is on their phone. Put your phone down, get a flight, talk to the person in front of you, drink beer. Yeah. Right? Just put your phone down and drink the frickin' beer.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, now I'm guilty of it. You guys have seen it. I will take a picture of it because it's a beautiful thing in a glass. It's gorgeous. Right. But put your phones down, drink the beer, talk to the people across from you.
Yeah.
Go up and talk to the brewer. We want to talk about the beer. We want to talk about it all day long to the point where you'll get tired of talking to us. Yeah. We want to talk about our beer.
Yeah.
I will go back and get you samples out of the tank if you want to let you try it.
Yep. Yeah, Keith and Cooper have talked about that. When you just start talking to them, like, oh shit, just I got something back here. Yeah.
Put your phone away and go talk to someone.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe, you're in the business. You're on that side of the bar, right? We want to talk to you.
Yeah, to me, I love talking to you about the beer we have on tap. I will give you endless samples. I don't care. Take pictures, whatever, but don't talk to me while you're looking at your phone. I'm going to walk away.
Yeah. Oh, I get that completely. A lot of times when I walk, Scott and I talk about this all the time. We were actually, when we had the Foamy Heads on last week from here in Nashville, talking about we go into breweries and stuff, and maybe we're going to take some, pictures from Instagram or whatever. I'm like, when I get into a brewery, I got to take pictures right away when I walk in, because otherwise I'm consumed with the conversation. I'm consumed by the beer. When I walk in, I probably pull up my Untappd app to look at the board to see, have I had this beer before? And then after that, the phone basically is going away. I mean, sometimes I wait till the next day before I even rate my beers, because you get, you're there to have a good time. And as you said, Joe, you want to sit there and talk to, other people and talk to good guys like Nick over here who is drinking beer constantly.
You mean Walrus Nick? If you saw his social media today, you know what I'm talking about.
Today.
Yep. I love that.
Cuckoo Kajube.
Hey, something I wanted to ask both of you guys, and
those are funny.
Yeah, something I wanted to ask both of you guys, Joe. This seems an obvious question for you, so I'll ask Nick first. Is we know, because people come into Nashville and they ask us, like, what breweries should you go to? What are the best breweries? Nick, where you live in West Virginia. So if I'm going to come there, or anybody that's listening to this podcast or going to listen to your podcast, and they're saying, I want to go to West Virginia, into the area where Nick is, what are some of the breweries that you like to go to that you can recommend for people?
So that's a tough question to answer. I can give you some breweries that I enjoy and some that I've physically been to. But breweries are kind of few and far between in West Virginia. So some of the beers that I like are from 4 or 5 hours away, just because everything is kind of on the outskirts of the state, because we're in between so many different places. But the one closest to me that I really enjoy is a place called High Ground Brewing. It's in Terra Alta, West Virginia, which is middle of nowhere. But they make some phenomenal beer. It's literally one of those places that you drive across a set of train tracks, and there's like a little barn style building back there, and has a big like American traditional eagle painted on the side of it, just like a tattoo. And you walk in, and it's just a concrete floor, a wooden bar, but some of the best beer that I've had in the state. It's all veteran owned. That's where the High Ground name comes from, and they make a little bit of everything from IPAs to pilsners to lagers and stouts, and it's probably one of my favorite places to go in person. And then another one would be Big Timber, is in Elkins, West Virginia. That's probably the biggest brewery in the state in terms of the beer that they put out and their distribution and everything. They're a West Virginia staple, and you kind of see them a little bit of everywhere that you go. And then in terms of places that I haven't been, but I would like to, is a place called Parkersburg Brewing, which is on the western side of the state, like right on the Ohio border. They're turning out some phenomenal beers, and they're great people. I've talked to their head brewer several times at beer festivals and stuff like that, and he's just what Joe was explaining. He's one of those that he just loves to talk about his beer. As soon as you walk up, tells you character profiles, ingredients, all that kind of stuff that 95% of the people that are at those festivals have no idea what he's saying. But he loves it so much, and he just wants you to enjoy his beer. He wants to explain it to you. And I think for me personally, that goes a long way in getting you interested in a place's beer, because they have that passion that they want to talk to you about it. And everywhere that I've been that he's been at, he has that same amount of enthusiasm, and it just makes you want to try the beer. And then you try the beer, and it's phenomenal. It's everything he says it is.
If I could piggyback on that with your geography, Nick,
Mhm.
you're close to many other states too, right? You got Maryland right there.
Right.
You just said you're close. So you get beer when you. What are the better states to get beer to take home from, based on your proximity?
Most of my beer, the beer store that I go to is in Virginia.
Okay.
That's where I get the biggest variety of it. Maryland gets a decent amount, and there's a beer store about an hour and a half away from me that has a solid selection. I don't get to it nearly as often as I do in Virginia, but either Maryland or Virginia is probably the easier of the two. Pennsylvania has some stricter alcohol laws, so you have to go to like an ABC store most of the time to get something like that. And I don't go to Pennsylvania a whole lot. So Virginia and Maryland are the easier ones. West Virginia, you can get some stuff, but most of it is, if it's not West Virginia beer locally, it's your typical, I don't want to say domestic, your typical commercial craft beer. So your occasional, your Sierra Nevadas, your Sam Adams, your Blue Moons, that kind of stuff.
Yep. And then Joe, how about you? Because I obviously Hawaii's different, but I kind of wondered when I was thinking about the the craft beer experience in Hawaii. I know a lot of people, obviously, when they're coming to Hawaii to visit, they're maybe not thinking necessarily about craft beer because they got other things in their mind. But do you find a lot of people that are coming there too, they want to try that craft beer experience, or is it more locals that are into it?
Well, I can tell. Well, real quick, I want to give a shout out to another brewery in West Virginia that I'm a big fan of, and Nick made me a fan of them. Greenbrier Valley Brewing Company. Nick sent me a Devilance IPA and a Malton Black IPA, two of the best beers I've ever had. Greenbrier Valley Brewing is another one in West Virginia that I highly recommend. I wish they would have been there when I still lived there. But
also, I'm
Hawaii,
sorry, Greenbrier, I love you.
I got you, brother. Don't worry about it. So, people come to Hawaii, they're going to get inundated with Kona Brewing and Maui Brewing. There's nothing wrong with that. Those beers are absolutely fantastic. And that's what, Kona's got the great marketing with the two brothers talking about Big Wave and Longboard and all that. And if you've ever had a Maui Big Swell IPA, I've never had a bad one. It's a fantastic West Coast IPA. Bikini Blonde is made with local Hawaiian cane sugar. But, the craft beer craze in Hawaii, it's been slow. Usually we're 6 months behind the mainland when it comes to stuff. But we've had such an influx of people opening breweries here. And I would expect you guys would think the best beer here is who I work for. The best brewery in Hawaii, and I can't talk enough good things about them, Hanakoa Brewing. Nick got some beer from them. Those guys over there brew some of the best beer on the island. They keep their tap list rotation fresh. They have 4, 5, 6 core beers. They release a new beer every other Friday. Their West Coast IPAs slap. Their sours. It's a fantastic brewery, and you can't get it anywhere but here on the island. They don't ship to the mainland. Beer Works is another one. They closed their initial location. They're reopening somewhere else with a bigger capacity. Honolulu Beer Works, their Hop Island IPA, their Coco Bison, their El Guapo with cilantro, lime, and agave is absolutely amazing. Inu Island Ales, Loka High Brewing. There's so many other little breweries that are opening that people are starting to realize now that there's more out there than Kona and Maui. Just because those two are in all the stores, and again, in no way would I ever say anything bad about either of those. I love their beer. It's absolutely amazing. I know the owners. I know the reps. The beer is amazing. But craft beer here in Hawaii, it's grown to the point where not only do we have local beer, but then we have local bottle shop named Village Beer. They got one downtown and one out here in Kapolei, where they bring in everything from the mainland. Like now we can get Weldworks and Gigantic and
That's
Great
awesome.
Northern and Great Notion and all these other ones we could never get before. And I don't know how Tim and his crew does it. He brings in stuff that nobody else can bring in. And there's starting to be this movement now, and you can see it in the beer festivals. A couple of years ago, the beer festivals were mildly attended, not crowded. Now, by the end of the festival, you can't even move around on the fairground anymore. It is packed. So it's got some momentum now. And when people come down here to the island, the first thing I get asked when they come out to where I work, this beer is good. What other places do you recommend?
Yeah.
I don't say Kona and Maui Brewing. I say Hanakoa, Inu, Beer Wart. Go down and try these breweries downtown. That's local beer. You can't get their beer anywhere else. And that's what I tell people.
Nice.
And I love that because we've talked about this many times. If you can get an area that's got multiple breweries in it, they don't have to be walking distance, but if you can hit a little area, you can hit 3 or 4. That's a day, man. And it's to go out to one is a little difficult sometimes. I go out there and spend all day, but if I can hit 3 or 4, now we're on a little adventure.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite trips. And you just line them up and you're like, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. When you go out of town, it's like, okay, this one's proximity to this one and this one's proximity. So we can do this. And now we can go, got to get some food, I guess, apparently. And then we can stop drinking for a minute and then we go back to drinking again.
Yeah.
Love the ones that are walking distance. If you can walk to them, unless you have to stumble, then
I mean, as long as you can stumble safely, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Walk uphill.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Hey, with the time difference between you guys, obviously, again, West Virginia, East Coast, Hawaii. Was that Pacific time? No, that's not even Pacific time, is it?
That's Hawaii time.
Hawaii has its own time zone. We are all on our own out here.
Okay, that's awesome. How do you guys record and how do you guys schedule things with those differences in the time zones?
Very carefully.
Yeah, very strategic.
No. So our recording schedule usually goes based off of Joe's work schedule, because it's obviously it's easier for Joe to record on days that he is off, because regardless, it's usually the evenings whenever I'm home from work that we're able to record because of that time difference. So for him, it's easier to record whenever he doesn't have to go into work. So for example, there's a 6-hour difference between Joe and myself. So a lot of times we will record at 6 p.m. Eastern time on a Wednesday, whereas it's lunchtime for Joe. So, it can definitely get complicated if we ever have to venture outside of that. And we've had to, once, Joe, that we've had to go off course?
Yeah, we had to go outside of that one time, and we got to do it again next week with our interview we having. Like it's 9:00 my time, and you got to get off work early to get home. But it's one of those things where it unfortunately it works around my schedule because I've gone from one schedule one week to another, and Nick's really good about adapting to that. It's just the way it's got to be. Yeah. Working in the industry, it's kind of like schedule comes out every week. It's like I roll the dice, and my days off going to be the same. But Nick is real good. But I do most of the scheduling, and I'm well aware of our time differences. And so I always try to get people to record noon my time, because on days I go into work, I don't go in till 3:30. So we can still record before I go into work. And that's 6:00 Nick's time. He's already home. He's already relaxed, got changed out, showered, whatever. We can do it that way. Sometimes, like next week, it's 9 a.m. my time, and Nick's got to leave early to come home because that's the only time we can get this person in. But these are the only 2 times we've ever had to kind of go outside of the box of our normal recording schedule.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of that's depending on the guest too. If we have someone that's, East Coast time, it's not really a big deal. If we have someone that's Joe's time, it's typically not a big deal. But when we start to run into those like mountain western time zones to where they're like smack dab in the middle of both of us, to where it's evening for me, it's lunch for Joe, and they still have like 2 hours left in their workday. You know, that's when it gets a little dicey. But
Yeah.
Joe and I get along just fine, you know, and it's something like we said earlier, you know, we don't want this to seem like a job either, so we don't stress about it. And when we can fit people in, we fit them in, and when we can't, we can't. And we move into another week, or we move our schedules around, or whatever we got to do. And I'm sure we'll come across more hurdles as we go. But so far, everything's been fairly simple to arrange, despite the 6-hour difference.
No, that's great. We haven't had to make those kind of accommodations. The earliest we've done is we've done like 3 p.m. Somebody had to do a different time zone, like 3 p.m. But Steve's done about 3, and I just leave early, and we just do it at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we just do it. You want to do it at 3? We'll do it at 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not too bad.
No.
Yeah, but mostly it's about around this time for us.
And really, time's just a number for us, because there's also times on the weekends to where me and Joe get the bright idea that we're going to drink when he gets off work. So Joe's getting home at 2 a.m. Hawaii time, and it's 7, 8 o'clock over here, and I'm pounding beer, and I'm half lit by 10:30. And over there, he's just ready to go to bed. So
he pounds them and goes to sleep. You pound them, have to figure out the day, right?
Right. You guys got to join us for one of those. It's a great time.
Oh my
Not
God.
to do it.
I'd rather just listen to it
By the way, real quick, and I'm going to edit this out, but I was just looking up, and I'm like, there's all these tornado warnings that are breaking out around here. Not that far from. But I was looking at it. So if you saw me looking up, I'm like, oh yeah, I keep getting all these alerts on my phone. We don't have one for our county yet, but it's like, okay, continue.
While we have a little break, can I have a little interjection here from our podcast?
Yes.
All right, Joe, Steve, and Scott, can I tell you a fun fact?
Yes, please.
Yes.
All right.
Steve, we're being invaded.
You are being invaded from the beer podcast about nothing.
Let's do it.
Did you guys know that at one point a French pig was executed for killing a child?
What did the child do to deserve it?
So, that's a fair question.
To answer your question, no, I didn't know that.
Right. A pig from the Middle Ages was once tied to a crime involving a murder. The pig was said to have come in contact with a child's face, which caused complications due to the injuries, which led to the untimely death of a 3-month-old child. The pig was eventually sent to jail and eventually publicly executed.
Wow.
The whole town had a great breakfast.
I missed that in history class.
Wait,
I just pulled a fast one on Joe, because usually that's his thing.
Where was this?
Wait, back up. Did you say the pig got arrested?
Yes, the pig was arrested and sent to jail, and then publicly executed.
I never thought the French had a sense of humor. I love it.
I was going to say, this
I'm telling you.
So.
Why did we not learn about that in history class growing up?
Right? That's why our podcast exists.
I know it.
He put him in jail.
That's what I had a hard time wrapping my head around. They arrested the pig and just take him out and just slaughter him and be done with it.
Yeah.
Have bacon the next morning. Put him in jail. Did they put him on trial too? Was there like a hearing?
I don't know. And also, I'm assuming this was like medieval times. So did they put him like a guillotine?
Oh.
You know, like what kind of public execution are we? Did they hang him?
Hope that they.
Were all the townspeople invited to watch?
I don't know. Did they make bacon afterwards?
You got to make bacon afterwards. I mean, don't waste anything on a pig.
Right. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but I don't know.
I hope he didn't die in vain. The town.
Oh, and we have regressed.
Yeah. Well.
Well done.
Okay.
We've been
done.
We've been invaded, Steve.
We've been invaded. I love it.
We had to bring part of it over.
I like the random fun facts.
So all right, that's pretty good. Hey, by the way, and I don't know if it was ever part of the podcast, but you guys did a drunk dance party, and was that just for Instagram or what? But was that part of the podcast?
No, that was part of those 2 a.m., 7 a.m. drinking days.
Okay.
So it was like 10 a.m. here, 5 a.m. Joe's time, and we were just drunk and, wild at that point.
Could we bring it back?
That was I had got home like 2:00 in the morning. Been a long day, and I was like 5 Wookiee Jack Rye IPAs in by that time. And Nick's like, "You want to do this?" I'm like, "Yeah." That's how that came about. We have another one that he hasn't posted yet. We've done 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna need to see that. I like that.
There is a second one out there.
Yes,
I forgot about it, and I came across on your social media, and I was like, "Oh, the drunk dance party."
Yep.
Maybe that. Don't you guys think, since I'm doing a summer tour, that Scott that needs to do a summer tour, maybe like a dance party, maybe the Scott summer tour dance party? What do you guys think?
I think we need to. Yeah.
I like it.
I mean, I did seltzers and ciders last year. I actually paid for seltzers and ciders last year for the podcast. This year I'm doing West Coast IPAs. Scott, got to step up for the podcast, buddy.
Do I go just strip club to strip club? Is that the deal?
Whatever you want to do. Maybe we'll auction you off
for
money.
What kind of dancing are we talking about?
I don't know. Maybe Nick and Joe, since they're the dance number guys, maybe they could create a dance for you or something.
I mean, I can dance right now. This isn't live, right? Like, we're not recording?
No, not at all.
Are we not recording?
Just a couple guys, three guys, 4 guys hanging out.
Joe, you told me not to put on pants. Oh, this is embarrassing.
We're not recording.
We're just hanging out.
Or just another happy hour. It's a random
happy hour.
Yeah, that's what we should do. We should take one of our happy hours and do a whole drunk dance party with like all 8 of us.
Yeah.
All right. If there's 7 other people doing it, I might move a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 20 seconds. That's fine. You don't even just close your eyes and do one of these. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just grab my drink and I put my head down and I'll do something like this.
Yeah. Get a little music going. Yeah.
It's fine.
Surely they're not looking at me. They're looking at the other 7 people.
That's right.
I need to get you guys like a little AI song that you can throw into your podcast somewhere.
I do like your songs. I was listening to the words earlier today.
I have so many of them.
Yeah, he does.
Like I just went down a rabbit hole one day for like 6 hours, and it was a great time.
Yeah.
Podcast. I listened to it and it rings in my head for like hours.
It is.
Podcast about nothing.
Yeah. See, it did its job.
It resonates. Right. That's for sure.
Hey, so you guys talked about earlier. You guys have never met. By the way, let me ask this question real quick before I get to that. Joe, how tall are you? Because I meant to ask that earlier, and it's relevant, kind of.
I am 6'8.5".
Pretty tall. You wouldn't be able to tell it from this sitting down, but
nope.
It still blows my mind. So,
yeah.
So you guys are gonna meet.
Hey Scott, how tall am I?
Yeah. 5'8", 5'6", 5'6", 5'5".
5'5".
5'5". Okay, all right. I actually have met you. So I don't remember.
I was going to say, you've seen me in person.
We were drunk.
We were drunk 80% of the time.
Yes. You're a good hugging height. I hugged on you quite a bit.
Yeah, but then my face is just in your belly button.
Little dancing going on.
I don't know. Steve, when you're wondering about what to edit, just kind of
Stop recording at this point.
Why? I thought are we not going that deep?
I don't care. That's fine. You leave it up there. Just throw it up there.
I don't know. You can, well, yeah, I'm not editing anything other than me.
We might offend some other beer Instagrammers.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. We don't want to offend the beer. We don't want to offend the beer drinkers of the world.
Oh, I know.
Sorry, Brudette.
But you guys haven't met in person, but you guys are going to meet in San Diego here, in May, right?
Yep.
What
Yeah,
are some of the things you guys are going to do?
We're going to meet over Memorial Day weekend, like the Thursday to Monday, and it'll be the first time that Nick and I have ever met in person. But, doing the happy hours and doing the podcast, him and Ashley become part of our family, like what we call here in Hawaii, Ohana. They're definitely Ohana. So it's not like when I meet Nick, it's going to be awkward or whatever.
Yeah.
I've already know everything about him, about Ashley, about the dogs and all that. But we have 3, 4, 5 days of nothing but breweries and shenanigans planned. And I asked Nick, I said, are you sure that Ashley is ready for this? Because, my wife knows we're going to San Diego, but I mean, is she really ready for what him and I are going to do when we're there? Because we're staying somewhere that, Nick, how many breweries are within walking distance of where we're staying?
Like 25.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have it all mapped out, kind of where you're going, or is it just going to be like a day-to-day?
So I sat down to do that a couple weekends ago, and I brought up the map, stared at it for about 20 minutes, and I closed my laptop. Because it was just overwhelming. And then just trying to, because my plan was, where our Airbnb is at, there's so many breweries south, there's so many north, there's so many to the west. So I'm going to be like, okay, if we just go straight north, we got X minutes from the house to here, and then we got X minutes from this brewery to this brewery. And there's just so much there that I'm just like, oh my God, I don't have the mental capacity to do this. But before we get there, yes, I would like to map it out. But, there's enough options too that if we eventually just walk one direction, we're going to run into something somewhere.
Yeah. Or find, if somebody's got like a key place they want to go to, hey, we got to make sure we hit these spots and we can just fill in the rest, kind of thing too.
Right. Yeah. We have, a handful of places that are must stops. So, I'm sure it'll come down as well to, all right, what is around that area?
Yeah.
To where we can go here, 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 here. And then we've had a couple suggestions from some other enthusiasts too that have said, okay, you got to hit here, you got to hit here, you got to hit here. So that's helped too. So, between Thursday afternoon and Sunday night before you fly out on Monday, we're gonna make our mark on San Diego.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
We're coming for you, San Diego.
Yeah, we're coming for you. Be ready.
Do they have White Castles out that way, or are they just over here?
Stop it.
No, they have Sonic, which is just as bad.
Hey, so. Steve, can you mute him?
Edit that out.
Bring it,
edit that out.
Oh, that we edit out. That we're gonna edit out.
Yeah, so we're staying kind of like downtown San Diego, but we are going to venture up north a little bit. Like we're going to make the pilgrimage to Stone, obviously.
Yeah.
Black Plague Brewing. There's Belching Beaver there. Those are 3 must things we have to do. But when Nick and I first started talking about this, we were originally going to go somewhere else and decided on San Diego. And when he sent me the address of where we're staying, I went and punched it up, and I'm like, we don't even need to drive anywhere, at all. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, to be honest with you. So.
Yeah. And I mean, that was kind of whenever I was trying to find a place to stay, obviously I wanted to be near breweries, but I knew San Diego was a big area for beer. I didn't know it was that big.
Really?
And whenever it came down to it, and I started looking up Airbnbs and stuff like that, and then I brought up some sites about San Diego breweries. There's so many that they have neighborhoods for breweries.
Nice.
To where okay, you got, so we're staying near 30th Street, and 30th Street has 25 breweries within 10 blocks, something like that, which is wild to me.
Yeah, that's ideal.
Right. So that's where we're actually staying at. But then there's a coastal section that has another 15 to 20. And then the northern section has 20 to 30. They're a little more spread out, but they're still all up there. And I'm like, this is impossible to pick a perfect spot.
Yeah.
So 30th Street, where we're going, it seems to be, there's a bunch of breweries, but there's also a lot of tap rooms, to where places that are throughout the rest of, not just San Diego, but California, just have a bunch of tap rooms that you can go in and at least still have their beer. So
yeah, you might not make it to the brewery, but you could have their beer all under one roof.
And how
Right.
many days
So-
are you doing this for, Nick?
we're doing it Thursday we're flying in Thursday, flying out Monday. So basically Thursday afternoon to Sunday evening we have free.
So there will be no sleeping or any of those breweries open at like, 4. It doesn't matter.
No,
Just
it
take the
doesn't-
beer back and there's not going to be any sleep going on. You're just going to
No,
be
it,
a
does,
brewery.
it doesn't matter. It's just going to be beer, a couple naps here and there with some coffee in the morning, and then back to the beer.
Have you checked out the breweries that have brunch? That's always important.
It is definitely on our list.
Yes. Yes.
Joe, I've got kind of a random question for you, but here we get a lot of when the seasons change. When the seasons change, and I'm going to pick on Sam Adams for a minute, but Summer Ale is already out in March, right? Oktoberfest comes out in freaking August or whatever it is. Do you see that over there too? And I ask that because I don't know, is it more delayed over there where you actually maybe get some of that seasonal stuff when the season actually is? Although you don't have many seasons over there either, do you?
No, over here it's pretty much 83 degrees and sunny every day,
Yeah,
summer every day. But like I said earlier, we're a couple months behind the mainland. So when you say that, you get Sierra Nevada Celebration like August or September, down here we don't get it until November. So we get it kind of at the time we're supposed to get it.
When you're supposed
that's
to.
kind of how they have it. But the local breweries here, during the summer, they're starting to do sours now. They do the German Bock beers, a Helles Bock, a Weiss beer, a Crystal Weiss. They do those at the appropriate times. Nobody's jumped on the Oktoberfest train yet. I don't know why. I'm going to try to work on that a little bit here. Yeah.
Talking my language, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. And can you imagine an Oktoberfest on the beach? It would be insane. But no, so down here, those beers come out exactly when they're supposed to. Like Sam Adams Summer Ale, it won't even be on the shelves here until Memorial Day weekend.
That's perfect. It's exactly how it should be.
And that's exactly wild to me because I just had 2 summer ales like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I haven't had any yet, but I'm overdue.
Well,
I'm that guy. Sorry, Scott. Not to interrupt. I'm that guy that as soon as Sam Adams Oktoberfest comes out, I'm that guy the first day at the store, ready to get it. And I don't care if it's the end of August. I'm getting it.
You're coming home with the whole case of it.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, but then you can get winter lager in October.
Exactly.
Yes.
No thanks.
So when you really want it, it's not there. And I love Summer Ale. I like the Oktoberfest too. But Summer Ale, I love to see it. But fucking June comes around or July, it's gone.
Yeah, like I'm drinking a summer ale and it's 25 degrees outside.
Yeah.
Like I don't get it.
So I'm sorry, Joe. You said October. You don't get Oktoberfest there at all?
No, we do, but it comes out like the end of August, first part of September.
Okay.
Yeah, all of our Sam Adams seasonals here, they come out within a week or two before the season. I mean, it's technically summer here all the time, so it's kind of ridiculous to be honest with you. But it's 83 degrees in June. It's 83 degrees on Christmas Day. It doesn't change.
Well, yeah.
But we still like to bring in the seasonal beers, but they hit exactly when they're supposed to. Like you won't see a summer ale on the shelf before Memorial Day weekend, and you won't see it after August. It'll be gone. And then by that time, they'll be clearing it out for the Oktoberfest. That'll be gone the middle of October, and then the Winterfest kicks in. And then around Thanksgiving, they put the Sam Adams Christmas pack with like the old Fezziwig Ale in it. Yeah. That's what comes out. And then by January, that's gone. So, yeah.
Yeah, we've laughed about that on our podcast as far as like when I know this year when Sam Adams Oktoberfest, when I saw it at a store here, and I think it was like the end of August, and then I go in and I'm like, there's their pumpkin beer right next to it. And I'm like, no, come on now. No, that's no.
I know. And, and they always say it's, they're fighting for shelf space and all that. I mean, just fight for it during the season that it actually is. I mean, what difference does it make?
Like if your beer's good enough, it'll survive, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You would think so.
And I get geography. Like the Northeast is probably different than where we live. It's obviously different where, where Joe lives out there in Hawaii. So seasons are different a little bit. It gets hot here earlier. So, in May it might be 90 degrees and that might fit. But also in July, I still need that and it's gone.
Yeah.
I'm self-admittedly, I'm a little biased because I'm a big Oktoberfest guy, and it could go on all year for me. However, I also understand that, it shouldn't go on all year, even if it is for me.
You'll change your mind once you develop your love for West Coast IPAs.
There you go. There you go.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Report back. I'm going on tour soon.
Everybody tune in for ticket sales.
That's right.
Now, Steve, I've got a little fact for you, and you probably saw it on my stuff. And Joe, if you've looked at Steve's background and his wall behind him, he's a Reds fan. Joe is a lifelong Reds fan too. Steve, did you know that?
I think you had told me that at some point.
Well, I think you probably read my notes.
We haven't talked about the Reds. Joe Scott and I are going to the Reds up in Cincinnati in May.
Oh, that's something I miss because, growing up in West Virginia, we didn't have professional sports of any kind. We had family living in Cleveland. They were Cleveland Indians fan, but my dad was a lifelong Reds fan.
Yeah.
And we used to go up to Cincinnati for all the home games from when I was little, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old.
Yep.
Until he passed away when I was 9, and then I still stayed a Reds fan. I remember seeing Johnny Bench play, and just the Reds teams from yesteryear, which were really good. But I'm a lifelong Reds fan. Will never like any other baseball team. Diehard Reds. I was born and raised. Will never like anybody else.
Well, Scott and I do every year, and we've done this for probably 7 or 8 years. The backstory on this, I'll give you it. So every year in May, my family and I, we get together and we do a big Reds outing. The biggest reason for it is because my older brother Mike passed away about 11 years ago, and he and I were big Reds fans. We used to go to games all the time, and he had diabetes, passed away of a heart attack. After he died, my cousins and I got together and said, you know what? We need to have something every year in his honor. So we have a Reds outing every year in his honor, and we're doing it in May. Scott comes up for it. He never met my brother, but he comes up for it. He's been coming up for like 7 or 8 years now. And when he started coming, we got into craft beer together. We started going to breweries together, and we've added days on top of, not only do we do a couple of Reds games and the big outing for my brother, we also do a whole big thing of breweries every year. So it's a whole lot of fun.
Nice.
That sounds like fun.
It's grown.
Yeah. Also, Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, he should.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah. Yep.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm honored that Steve invites me every year and we get to go. And it's kind of how our whole thing started. We would leave breweries and be like, "Hey, we should start a website," which we have. And then it evolved to let's start some social media. Let's do a podcast because of it. Same thing as you guys. We're experiencing all these beers and we're drinking all these beers. We need another outlet for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the first time that we did like the Reds and brewery outing up there, it was maybe like 3 days, because Cincinnati has a great brewery scene. And so we went up there, and it was maybe like go up on a Friday, come back on a Sunday or a Monday. And then after about 2 years, I said, you know what? We need to add like another day. So we keep adding days. And this year we've added, how many more days, Scott? Is it 7, 8?
And 2 additional cities.
Yeah. Yeah. Now this year we're going to Cincinnati. We're going to Columbus, and we're also going to Cleveland.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. What?
So and then
let me know when you guys go. Maybe Ashley I can come meet you guys one time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
awesome.
definitely.
Especially because Cleveland's probably closest to you, right? Of those cities.
Yeah, Cleveland's probably, if I had to guess, 4 hours maybe.
Okay.
Well, I know Columbus is 4 hours.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much further Cleveland is or how much shorter, but yeah.
But yeah, going back to that, Joe, I'm a diehard Reds fan, as you can see, and I've been one all my life. I probably have been to, I don't know, if I had to count how many baseball games, Reds games I've been to in my life, it's probably been about 200. You know.
Yeah, no, that's the same way. I remember getting in the big old Buick Skylark with fins on the back with my dad when I was 6, and driving to Cincinnati and watching the games and staying overnight and coming back. And then when I was stationed in Miami, they come down there and play the Marlins. Military get free tickets, go see the Reds play the Marlins. Sometimes they win, sometimes they didn't. But it's just one of those teams that I just kind of latched onto through my dad, and I'm just a diehard Reds fan. I love the Cincinnati Reds, and we've had up and down years, but it's just the whole. It doesn't matter. It's the whole experience of being a Reds fan, and if you've ever been to the stadium or ever seen them play, it's just that whole. It's like, wow, I get to see my team play finally.
Yeah. Well, both of you guys, if you guys ever decide you're going to go, let me know. I'd love to join you up there because it's a fun time.
Nick, are you a baseball guy at all?
Oh, I love baseball. It's my favorite.
You an Orioles fan? Do I remember? Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
AL East, baby, right here. You and I.
It's been tough living for Orioles fans the last 30 years.
But you guys have a good team.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah, you
guys. Try being a Reds fan. Come on.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of which, if you guys ever get tired of Ellie De La Cruz over there, send him our way.
Yeah. I think in 2029 when he becomes a free agent, he's probably heading to the Dodgers.
Probably, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean they have no limit on their payroll right now, so
exactly.
Yeah, when you defer $650 million, you can do that.
Yeah, it's going to catch him eventually.
Or he could end up in the Bronx, Steve.
You never know.
I think Baltimore's better.
Hey, by the way, are they still talking about kind of moving the Orioles out of Baltimore? No, I wouldn't think so.
Whenever so they sold the team before last season, and whenever they did that, they signed like a 20-year contract with the stadium.
Okay, I hate that. Like a storied franchise like that, they try to do it with the Twins years ago. Like it's like you can't move those teams. Man, they've won World Series.
If they would have moved, they would have came to you guys.
I know.
So
there you go.
You could have got something there.
I know. Maybe. Well, because that's the AL East, right? We could see the Yankees play, which is why you go to ball games, and then.
That's why tickets are double when they're in town.
I know. We might be able to. Maybe we can get the Rays now since they backed out of their stadium thing down there in Tampa.
There you go, because it got destroyed, right? Like they're got
destroyed. Yeah, and then they had committed to the city about building a new stadium for them, and then they've backed out of the deal about building the stadium. So about being the Rays don't want to be in that stadium. So I don't know what they're looking at, but maybe Nashville. We'll see.
There you go.
I don't know. I mean, Nashville's trying to get the NBA. They're trying to get into the NBA, and
look, you can take this NFL team out of here if you want to, then put a baseball team in. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
they can go.
There's not much to sell there right now.
Exactly.
No. Hey, by the way, let's build a brand new stadium at the same time.
Dude, I don't fucking get it. Like, we're at like the lowest of lows, and we're going to buy a multi-million-dollar stadium.
Yep.
I don't get it.
You got to. Hey, you want to buy some what do they call them? PSLs for a shitty product?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Well, all it is just get the Super Bowl here and the NCAA.
Correct.
Do that.
So.
Correct.
Well, that's what happens everywhere, right? Like they bring the Super Bowl in, they bring the draft in, and all that stuff. It just brings in revenue. But
the nice thing about this stadium will be covered. Go ahead, Steve.
By the way, not to interrupt, but are we? I know we're still recording. Are we like actually done with the podcast, or do you?
I'll tell you what. I've got a few stats. I've got a few stats I want to run by you guys.
I mean, we could say on drinking. I'm just like we're just kind of bullshitting now. Do you just want to
do it?
All right, let me run these stats by you. These are podcast stats.
All right.
Do you know that there are 4.19 million podcasts registered around the world?
Oh,
wow.
Somebody came ready.
Well, yeah. Apparently anybody can do it though, because we all are. So I guess all right, how about this? South Korea has the most podcast listeners in the world.
Wow.
Get out of here.
Yep.
Oh, that's kind of surprising. Okay.
Yep. Spain, Ireland, Sweden, and US. Yep. So we're either going to have some Korean guests on, or we're going to start speaking Korean to try to get our listenership up.
That'll be the summer tour for you, Scott. You can learn Korean.
Okay. I could do that.
Well, now I'm kind of offended because I don't think South Korea is on our listener list on my creators app.
No,
It's not.
or is it either?
Damn, we fucked up.
We do have Russia on ours though. We picked up Russia.
Oh, we got we got Russia.
You got Russia
got
too.
Russia.
We got Russia.
Yep.
I got two more. And this is okay. Podcast revenue market was expected to reach $4 billion globally in 2024. So like advertising and podcasting.
Whoa.
Guys, we got to get a piece of that somehow.
gotta get a
I don't know
piece
how
of
we do it. 4 billion.
4 billion.
Do we need to merge? Is that what we got to do?
We have to do that.
You guys, you bring your advertisers, we'll bring ours.
Yeah.
Does that mean
yeah,
since there's 4 of us, we're going to be doing a 4-hour podcast?
To break it up.
Challenge
Joe will have
challenge
his. Steve will
accepted.
have his.
Yep. Yeah. We'll have our own hour. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
okay.
we'll be the Hop In Underground podcast.
All right, there you go.
Hop in.
All
We're
right,
drinking
one
an underground podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're drinking underground. All right, one more. And this is actually kind of cool. Only 1% of podcasts make it past 20 episodes. So you guys will certainly be there.
And you guys have surpassed that. Well done.
Thank you.
We
A lot of two-parters. Yeah. So, anyway, something else I want to say as we close this thing out, man, you guys are doing more than just a podcast. And I think you guys realize that. You've probably been told thank you by people in the business or in the industry as far as, promoting breweries and craft beer as a whole. So you're doing more than just getting on the mics and talking about. You're promoting the industry, and I think it's a positive thing, and I think you'll hear a lot of thank yous from people you talk to for doing that.
Well, yeah, we appreciate that, and really we don't do, none of us do it for that, right? We do it just
Right.
to do it as a passion project essentially. But any type of awareness or recognition that we can bring along the way is just icing on the cake, because we're none of us are here for fame or money or anything like that. We're just here to talk about something that we love and we embrace and we all have a common interest in, and hope that it hits somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but just
and
realize
that's
that you're
the thing,
doing more than
and-
just. Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So what it is too is to bring awareness to home brewing. We want to get people home brewing. Talked about the very beginning. Countertop systems are out there. You don't have to invest in a bunch of $300, $400, $500 or $900 glycol system or whatever. Just get into it. It's a great hobby. It's a great thing to be passionate about. But the best thing about it is the community that we have. It's the beer industry, the IG beer community. I say it all the time. The IG beer community rocks. We are, I think Nick said it last week. We talked about it with Dave, that people go on there to make it appear like they're happy or their lives are the perfect thing. We get on there because we're the people that we say we are. Like I got home at 2:00 in the morning last night and almost crushed a 19.29% 90 minute. That's who I am.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I did it.
Right.
But get people into home brewing, get them passionate about beer. And I'm going to throw this out there. Hey, Stone, if you want to sponsor Nick and I, please feel free to do it.
Yes, please.
Yes, Stone.
Do it.
Get
or
on
else.
board.
Or
We're
found
trying
How
to-
dare you?
Get in on the ground floor of these guys.
Exactly.
Guys, we really do love the podcast. Honestly, listen to every episode. You guys are doing a great thing. You're being yourselves. You got a passion for it. Look, I said this many times. We're consumers. I think we're all beer consumers first. So that's kind of where our expertise comes from. But we just love it. We're gonna continue to drink beer, whether we had these or not.
There you go. All right. Joe and Nick from the Hoppin' Drinking Podcast. We're drinking podcast.
That's
I'll
right.
edit that.
Guys, thanks for being on. We appreciate you so much, and I know we will see you guys soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We love you guys.
Cheers,
Appreciate
guys.
you guys too.
man.
Love you
Well
guys
done.
too.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers from the Brewery Underground Podcast.
Cheers. 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 I think we got these stories.